Here's the pitch that shouldn't work but absolutely does. Take a semi-autobiographical teen story about diet culture and anxiety, funnel it through pastel slapstick and split-screen WarioWare microgames, and make the main mechanic a Tetris-style lunch puzzle where food pieces have bytes instead of calories. Consume Me is that strange contraption, and it's dazzling because the form is the message. You don't just watch Jenny spiral, you feel your schedule pinch, your energy meter wobble, and your week get wrecked because you took the cookie that fits perfectly in the grid. Context first, because it matters. Developed by Jenny Jiaoxia with AP Thompson, Gian Lee, Violet WP, and Ken Koda Snyder, published by Executable on PC via Steam and itch. Release late September 2025. The Guardian calls out its big league cred on the indie circuit, pointing to the IGF's top honor. Eurogamer spotlights its inventive, split-screen storytelling and approachable difficulty curve. Game Informer lands an 8.25, praising the warmth and wit while flagging the ending as a stumble. Different angles, same core observation. It's personal, it's funny, and it uses game systems to critique gamifying your life. Let's talk systems, because that's where Consume Me sharpens the knife. The meal puzzle asks you to slot L kale, S tomatoes, egg singles, and yes, perfectly convenient junk shapes into a stomach grid. Every piece has bites. Fill your guts bar without exceeding your weekly cap. Leave gaps, you'll get hungry later. Go over, you owe the treadmill an hour, time that could have gone to homework, chores, dating, or sleep. It's an elegant trap. Optimization becomes obsession and the win state starts to feel morally gross. That's on purpose. The game isn't wagging a finger about calories. It's showing how tools built to measure behavior can start to dictate it. The rest of the day plays out as microgames with the antic zip of WarioWare. Fold laundry with twitch timing. Align a jittering gaze to keep studying. Dog walk while dodging landmines and scooping cash. These aren't just cute, they carry narrative weight. Drag Jenny's feet onto the scale each week while music turns ominous. Clean a sink, then watch mom's forensic inspection reduce you back to zero. Meet the boyfriend's parents and suddenly there's an anxiety gauge and detective lamp spotlighting every answer. The loop finds humor without mocking Jenny, satire pointed at diet culture, not the person trapped inside it. Across reviewers, there's a neat consensus on how the pressure stacks. Time is the enemy. Early chapters feel manageable, but as school kicks in, responsibilities pile. College apps, romance maintenance, chores, studying, social life. Eurogamer calls out how one wrong move cascades. Eat light, then slam an energy drink, then deal with headaches unless you raise mood, which you fix with chips, which busts your bite budget. Now you owe exercise, now you're out of time. That closed feedback loop is the uncomfortable brilliance. Players fall into the same logic traps Jenny does, not because they're careless, but because the system rewards short-term wins that create long-term debt. Presentation sells it. The pixel art feels hand-drawn, faces overexpressed with mimetic charm, and the animations are interactive punchlines, nervous sidewalk dollar grabs, bedstick refusal, limbs crisscrossing in clumsy makeouts you have to steer around. The gag density keeps the stress playable. Game Informer singles out the writing as sharp, with Jenny reading as a fully dimensional lead you root for, not a cautionary cutout. The tonal needle threading is the headline. Jokes land, the message lands harder, and the warmth keeps it from becoming misery porn. So where do critics split? Two places, pacing and the late game religion beat. Eurogamer and The Guardian both admire the stamina of the design, but question whether the 8-ish hour run lingers after the point is made. Escalation keeps escalating, long after you grasp the thesis. Game Informer goes deeper on the final chapter. Religion arrives late as a comfort mechanic, grants mood, and even energy bumps, then exits quickly and messily. Thematically, that reads off for some players, if the core critique is, you can't logic or grind your body into compliance. Then a consequence-light spiritual boost can feel like a systems-level contradiction. And when the inevitable crash happens, telegraphed by the content warning, the game largely montage wraps the rise, leaving you to feel the loss more than the recovery. That's a deliberate choice, but it trades catharsis for honesty, and not everyone will love that trade. Let's pin the accessibility and intent while we're here. The game opens with a specific content notice that explicitly disavows the behavior you're about to enact. Options exist to reduce shakes and flashing. There's a clean language spread for subs. Audio sliders are separate. The aim is to be playable without blunting the critique. That's consistent with everything else. The devs want you to finish, to see the argument, not to bounce on a difficulty spike that says gotcha. Veteran games take lands like this. Consume Me is one of 2025's sharpest arguments for what games do uniquely well. Translate psychology into mechanics without losing humor or heart. It's not perfect. The final act wobbles, the religion interlude will bother some, and the pacing could trim a chapter without losing impact. But the craft, how a perfect cookie shape can ruin your week, how a well-timed energy drink creates a headache debt, how a relationship becomes another meter to keep above zero, sticks to your ribs. It's funny, it's empathetic, and it's exactly the kind of risky, specific voice we should be championing. Quick spoiler in 3, 2, 1. The crash comes as the warning hints, and the recovery is mostly told, not played. If your oxygen comes from interactive redemption arcs, that might feel like a rug pull. The counterpoint is that recovery in real life isn't a boss fight. It's paperwork, therapy, and time. The game chooses truth over triumph, which is thematically consistent even if it leaves your dopamine tank half full. Back to spoiler-safe recommendation time. If you're here for design brains and narrative guts, play it. If you or someone close to you is sensitive to eating disorder themes, approach with care. Maybe co-pilot with the accessibility options toggled and breaks baked in. If you demand airtight endings, you'll be arguing with this one. I am too. But I'm still thinking about it days later, rearranging KL blocks in my head and audit checking how often I try to turn my life into a spreadsheet. If this kind of no BS deep dive is your thing, hitch a ride with Veteran Game and hit subscribe. Drop a like if you value weird personal indies getting real coverage alongside the big sequels. It tells the algorithm to stop counting our bytes. Last question to chew on. Should games that critique gamification lean into satisfying power curves anyway? Or is the uncomfortable friction part of the art? Let's argue it out in the comments.